That means that I get to tell you guys the truth about this camera. Gears and Tech is about to go through a major camera upgrade with this, the Insta360 Ace Pro. Let's explore some of the features and do a quick unboxing. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. Those of you who have been to the channel before, you know that I love to start my videos with story time. So before we get into the unboxing, let me tell you why I'm picking this camera and what it means for me and why I'm choosing it over some of the other options that are out there. This channel is powered largely by GoPro. So you can see I've got a GoPro right here. This is recording the desk so that when we do the unboxing, you guys will be able to see kind of close up what's going on. The camera that I'm filming with over here is actually the same kind of GoPro. It's a GoPro Hero 8. On my desk over there, right here, you can see I have a GoPro Hero Max for my 360 shots. So my entire workflow is built on GoPro. Why do I choose GoPro? And why do I choose the GoPro Hero 8? Well, specifically, the GoPro Hero 8 is the last GoPro that films in 4K with reasonably good image stabilization, and it will do 4K reliably. You see, the 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 all have overheating problems when you try to shoot in high resolution. So you can get roughly 8 to 10 minutes of footage before it overheats and shuts down. Now, I used to have a GoPro Hero 9 and a Hero 10, and that's how I found out the hard way. It seriously disrupted our workflow, and I found by going back to the Hero 8, which I've never had a problem with, all of a sudden our workflow is a lot more linear and seamless. But that all looks like it's going to change with the introduction of the Insta360 Ace Pro. Now, why the Pro? Specifically because the Pro has 8K recording. Now, this video right now is filmed in 4K, and on YouTube we upload in 4K. That's fine when we do the really wide out shots. But when we do the cropped in shots, some of you have noticed a little bit of noise and pixelization and have said, hey, why are you uploading in 4K when you've got a crop shot that's more like 1080p or even worse? Well, that will hopefully all change with this, but there's a few questions that I have about this camera. We're gonna answer those probably in a different video because I need to try this thing out before I can really tell you what I think about it. But the promise of 8K is very, very promising. And I'm hoping to film all of these videos in 8K, at least for my primary camera, this guy right over here, so that we can do those tighter crop shots and not lose the image quality. So the first thing we need to do is open it up. Then we'll explore the features. We'll do a first power on, and that's probably where I'll leave you guys actually. So if you're hoping for the review of what I think of this camera, that is coming up. Also, future videos are going to be filmed with this camera. So if you want to check back, if you don't care about what I'm talking about or the content that I'm doing, that's fine. But if you want to check back and see if you notice an increase in image quality, depth of field, clarity, whatever, check in a couple weeks. The videos that I'm filming with this will start to come out and we can see if you can notice a difference and if it helps at all. The first thing I have to say is I bought this with my own money. Insta360 did not send this to me. I asked them, hey, I'd love to review your camera, and they totally ghosted me. They said nothing is what they said. So I'm taking that as, screw you, Anton, your channel's not big enough or significant enough for us to care. And I'm not obliged to say nice things because they sent it to me for free. So that is a really big bonus for you guys, the viewer. So the first thing I want to do is just start unboxing this thing. So let me get my knife. So it comes in this plastic wrap here, totally sealed. I have not even looked at this yet. So that's the problem with new tech is I get it. I'm so excited to see it, but I want to give you guys the purest unboxing experience you can get, which means I have to wait till I'm recording for you guys to see it at the same time as I see it. So I don't get to pre-see any of this. And it opens up like that. Okay, so we start with, it just kind of folds open like this, and then it's got all the instructions right on here. The camera body's right here. Wow, it's got some weight to it. We'll explore the camera in a minute. Let's just check what all comes in this box. And I think that's probably it. So before we get into the camera, let's see what the accessories are. Now they do have a scannable QR code. This is probably gonna sell you more accessories, which I don't necessarily want. We've got Ooh, this seems like the magnetic mount. I'm really curious to see how that works. Yeah, okay. I don't know what all is even in here because I haven't really looked at it that close. I really thought that the Insta360 guys were gonna send me one because they would be like, you know, we'd definitely love to have a non-partial review done on our product, but it seems like they only wanna pay people to make reviews on their products that everyone thinks they're awesome. So that's USB-C to USB-C cord. This is just a mount, which is actually, it's a pretty high quality mount. It's kind of rubbery. Is it a suction? No, it's a sticky mount, but it's moldable, which is actually really nice because then it can actually form to something that's not straight. Wow. Stickers, think bold. Insta360, think bold. Warranty card, we're gonna stick that in there. Quick start guide, which, you know, probably I should read that, but I'm not going to. Waterproofing, what you need to know. Now, this is a really big book to basically say, even though we say this is waterproof, you probably don't want to submerge it in water like this. Now, this will work in a swimming pool or whatever, but there are lots of orifices and cracks. This is the hinge for the flip up lens, which is awesome. But inside these little spots right here where the hinge is, obviously there's gonna be holes. Now they've done everything they can to seal those holes. And today this thing is waterproof up to 33 feet or 10 meters. But in time, as you open and close this hinge, it's going to wear out the waterproof gasket, and eventually, and you won't know when, it will probably start to leak. So this most likely says, be careful, make sure all the gaskets are clean, make sure that it's sealed tightly, and use in water at your own risk. If you intend to use this camera diving, swimming, surfing, snorkeling, whatever, I strongly recommend a waterproof dive case for it for that extra level of protection. You don't have to, and you don't have to take my word for it, but you see that GoPro Max? I used to have one just like it a year ago, and it's waterproof, and I stuck it in the water about 3 feet, and it stopped working. I made a video showing you how to revive it, which totally failed, and it did not ever come back to life. So that is now my third GoPro Max, one of them broken due to me thinking it should be waterproof. I don't take chances with these cameras anymore. If I'm going in the water, they go in a dive case, period. And then there's also a book for safety guidelines, which again, I'm not gonna read. Now that that's all out of the way, we can start to explore the camera itself. So you guys have already seen, it's got this flip up screen. It's really good if you're vlogging because you can kind of frame yourself better. There is one downside, which we will talk about shortly, but let's look at the rest. So over here, there's a little flip open compartment. This does pop off like that. And that gives you your micro SD slot and your USB-C port. That will be what you charge from, but also there are a ton of accessories. If you need external mic, this will allow the adapter to plug in that gives you that external mic. On the other side here is the battery. So let's check out what the battery looks like. That is the battery right there. And if I take my GoPro battery, here's one of my GoPro batteries beside it. So this battery is a lot bigger than a GoPro battery, which is good. Are my eyes good enough to read this? 1650 milliamp hours. And my aftermarket batteries say that they're 1500 milliamp hours. Now I know milliamp hour rating is a direct, or has a direct correlation to battery size. So one of these two batteries is lying. Probably this newer one, which is a Amazon special, and it claims to be much higher capacity than a regular GoPro battery, and it's unlikely. So when this one says that it's 1650, I actually tend to believe it, but weight-wise, they're about the same weight. So it's possible that even though this is bigger, it's not as battery dense or power dense, which still isn't a bad thing. You see, the aftermarket batteries will be able to work with the same size. If they want to get more power density in there, they can with the size. The Hero batteries, or the GoPro batteries, they are limited to the size of the form factor itself. It only fits so far into the GoPro camera. And so you eventually run out of space. If this is full of dead air, then we can fill it with more battery stuff to make it last even longer, which means this will last a long time. Inside, I don't know if you guys can see that, there's some metal screens in there. It looks almost like they're gonna be used for, I mean, that's obviously the cage that this slides into, and it helps direct that, but it looks like they've got a purposeful air gap in there so that they can have some cooling space for the battery. One of the biggest problems with the action cameras nowadays is the size and heat. And that's why that GoPro Hero 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, they overheat. They're trying to fit so much in a small package. And there's actually some aftermarket cooling mods that guys are doing to keep them cool enough to keep recording. So this guy though, according to the internet, does not overheat even when recording in 8K. So that's why I got it. Moving around to the front, there is a front screen on here. Now this is not a color screen, it's just an OLED screen similar to what my GoPro Hero 8 has. It's inverted colors, so it's dark with white text. And that allows us to just see information on the video recording itself. The real screen is from this flip up screen, which then allows you to see in real time what you're recording as well as the recording information. If you're not recording in this kind of view and you want to record in this view, well then the screen folds down and it works just like a GoPro. It's a touch screen, so you can navigate with touch. You can also do it in any other angle. So if you wanted to do like a low shot, you can have the camera low, you can look down and see what you're framing and whatever, and you know, any variation in between. What about upside down? Well, upside down works because this has an auto horizon leveling, so you can tell it to flip 180 degrees, and then that allows you to shoot like from a crowd overhead or whatever, like that. So I mean, it's lots of multiple functionality there. On the side, we've got the power button. On the top, we've got the shutter button. This is typical of your action camera layout. But the other big deal is the front, the Leica lens. Now this is a 1 and 1.3 inch lens sensor size. Now this does get confusing when you get to the fractional secondary size of the lens. Even though the number is smaller than like a GoPro, it's actually a bigger sensor than the GoPro. Bigger sensors are good, especially when you're inside like this where you need a lot of light to light the subject. We have way more light in this studio than you guys probably even realize. One day we'll do a studio review so you can see how much light it takes to get the image that you guys are seeing now. But we've got a lot of really bright lights, and that's because the lens on the GoPro is quite small, so you need lots of light to help the light get in. This having a bigger lens will do much, much better in low light shooting conditions, in twilight, in total darkness, but also in a studio like this. More light is always better. And that's why the DSLR cameras are so good, especially like vloggers like to use them because they have such a big sensor size that they can get lots of information, allows you to do crop shots that still maintain their clarity. So when this camera was announced as having such a big lens and doing 8K, I got really excited for the ability to continue shooting exactly how I've been shooting, but to upgrade our image quality game. It does have a multitude of microphones as well. So there's one on the side here. There's one on the top here. There's one on the front. I saw it. It's right there. And is there one on this side? I don't think there's one on that side. So there's 3 in total. Perhaps there's one on the bottom as well. I'm not sure. That looks like it could be. And those are good because when you're trying to do active noise cancellation, it's very beneficial to have multiple cameras coming from multiple sides, especially if you're outside in windy environments. You can't always put a dead cat on here or a windsock, and people might not think to. So even if this side microphone on this side is getting wind blowing directly on it, then this one probably doesn't have any wind on it, and we can actually use the audio from this microphone to get good, clear audio. We will do a full in-depth review of the audio and the recording and all that in a future video because there's so many features here to unpack and we haven't even turned it on yet. Now I do want to talk about this. This is covered up right now, but we're going to expose this. This is their magnetic base. Now I'm really excited about the magnetic base and I can tell you exactly why. Now I made a different video showing you the mount, the camera mount for the GoPro Hero 8, and especially when you want to add additional accessories on there and you've got it in a rig like this, to pull it out of that rig, you always have to unscrew it, separate it, fold the tabs back, slide it out of that case. It's a big hassle. So this magnetic case, hopefully, solves that problem. We're gonna try that right now. So this should go, holy, that is a strong magnet. and this should go, oh, it only goes one way. It won't let me put it this way. It's fighting me. But if I turn it around, there we go. So that is now on. It's actually, so they call it magnetic, but it's actually magnetic with clips. So this is now on. I can attach this to any GoPro style action camera mount that I want. So I can attach it to this guy if I want. I can attach it to that guy. I've also got this, which is a 10-foot pole, so it extends. I don't have enough room to extend it in here, but it extends and extends and extends. Now you guys have seen this on my 360 videos. Anytime where I'm getting like aerial shots of what I'm doing, it's always with this 10-foot pole. So I can attach this onto the end of my 10-foot pole, and I can put this all over the place in places that you would never ever think of. If you like the idea of the 10-foot pole, I'll put a link in the description. You can get one of those for yourself. It's actually one of my favorite accessories. I use it for a lot when I'm out on the go. But when it is time to swap something on the camera or swap the accessory, rather than unscrewing it, you simply push these two buttons, pull that off, and then you can have these on multiple different accessories you can swap quickly. So in car, camera suction cup mount, boom, snap it on, camera in car. Switching to a bike, have it on a handlebar, boom, same deal. You can go dive case, you know, well, yeah, dive case, you'd have to pop it in, but at the bottom of your dive case, you got a handle. So if you want to put it from a tripod or from a hand mount or something into a dive case, pop this off, pops right into a dive case. It is so much faster, and that alone is awesome when you're doing like run and gun style shooting, especially if you're a vlogger. Now, the one thing that you should note is that this mount is not the same as any of the other Insta360 cameras currently. So it's not a standardized form factor, which is unfortunate, but in future revisions, I have a suspicion they're going to switch to this and do away with the other ones. So your older cameras are going to become the obsolete ones. All the future ones are going to use this. Now we already looked at the USB-C cord, which just plugs in for data transfer. Some other features at a glance that we haven't totally talked about, which includes AI Highlights Assistant. Now that is a really neat feature that we're going to explore in the future. There's a lot of creators that are doing some really neat things with that. It's something that I want to play with. It's not something we're going to use a lot, but it's just a fun toy to just explore and see how it works. But AI feature-rich assistant, these are making their way into more and more of our consumer devices. And it's an interesting, neat, artistic way to amp up your videos. 2.4-inch flip screen. It is waterproof up to 10 meters or 33 feet. We already talked about the magnetic mounting system. It does include gesture control and voice control. This is version 2.0, which is gonna be so much better than the original gesture and voice control. And GoPro's been doing this for a lot of years, and every single time I turn it off because it's stupid and I don't like it. So maybe this is going to be awesome for you, but I really don't see myself using it. We talked about the sensor size. It is a 1 and 1.3 inch sensor, has pure video, especially for nighttime recordings, and that is a toggle off and on. Again, we'll explore these features in much more detail in future videos. If there's anything in particular that you want to see, put a comment down below and say, Anton, I also want to find out about this or that or whatever, and we'll try and get a video for that as well. It does 4K at 120 frames per second for ultra slow motion. It also has flow state stabilization and horizon lock, and free frame video, which is accessed through the Insta360 app. Now those are the basic features at a glance. There's a lot more in here. So the next thing we need to do is I got the battery in. So we need to turn it on. I want to see this thing turn on for the first time. All right, here we go. Turning it on. Look at that. I like that blue light. That's nice. Whoa. So first thing we got to do is pick our language, English. Next. Please download the Insta360 app in the App Store or Google Play to activate your camera. What? They won't even let me play with my camera until I download the app? This is stupid. I don't like this. So I guess we're going to the Play Store and we're going to look for Insta360 app. Now I have used Insta360s before. I wasn't too impressed. I used their 360 camera, the X2, and it was not an enjoyable experience. So the software side is good for basic creators, but for those people who are looking to upload and edit in actual editing software, I didn't find it as good as the GoPro workflow. So I'm hoping they've fixed a few things for that. The fact that they're putting me into the app right away is somewhat concerning and problematic. You remember I told you guys that since they didn't send me this camera, I can tell you my real thoughts. My real thoughts are, let me turn the camera on and let me get into the features without having to download the app. So the app is installing. Now it has opened, and now it's going to be like, oh, let's connect to your camera. Okay, let's connect to my camera. They're required, so I have to give it permission to, I don't think you need my location, and I don't think I need notifications, but whatever. I can always turn those off later if I don't want to. Do you have an Insta360 device? Yes, I do. No, thank you. Please allow the app to connect to nearby devices. Okay. Okay, so it sees the camera right away. Ace Pro. I'm excited about this camera. As pissed off as I am that they're making me download the app first and stick bloatware on my phone so I can use my camera. That's concerning for me, but whatever. Okay, allow suggested Wi-Fi networks. Whatever, go for it. Connect to device, why not? Connection successful. Okay, new firmware found. Now, I'm okay that I have to do this. This camera, out of the box, it does not support 8K recording. And so it needed to be unlocked in a future firmware update. So this update says, number 2, supports up to 8K video, 4K 120, and whatever. Okay, so we're gonna add this firmware. It downloads pretty fast because my phone's pretty awesome. It's a Pixel 8 Pro. Now we're loading the firmware on the camera. Had to reposition my camera so you guys can see what's going on the camera while it's going on the phone. So you guys can see both. This is super goodness. And this is why I need another camera. I'm not gonna throw this one out. I'll probably keep this as an additional camera. I was thinking about mounting one way up there that I can have for a top-down camera. And my GoPro, my extra GoPro might be a great camera for that. Okay, so the update is done. We're gonna tap to connect to the device. I don't know if I have to pick my language first, or if it'll let me do that on the screen, but we'll see. Okay, sure, let's activate the device. Okay, we'll register later. Okay, now I'm into my camera, so, okay. So probably that can go over. Let's start exploring some of the features of the camera here. So if I hold that like that, swipe, okay, swipe. So this is giving me like just kind of a tutorial. Here's how to use your camera. Ratio, 16:9, perfect. Stabilization, we're gonna leave it off because I'm gonna need to when I enable the 8K. So there's, that's at 100% already. AI, current shooting mode does not support AI. Okay, well, that's kind of weird. There's another menu there. Oh, headphones. Bluetooth is starting searching. Please make sure both Bluetooth devices are in pairing mode. That's actually good. So the fact that it can pair to AirPods or something like that, a lot of creators need a good external microphone. So I'm using this lavalier mic here, which actually records to a separate device in my pocket. But one way to get good audio onto your camera like this is to use a wireless mic. So a lot of guys are using the AirPods just because they go in your ear and they have a pretty good mic. So it looks like this will pair directly to AirPods and then record direct to the camera without having to use an external mic option, which is, it's actually kind of impressive if I do say so myself. Grid on, grid off. And here's what we talked about. So it's wind reduction, direction focus. This is using those extra microphones, and stereo mode would record left and right, which is also beneficial if you don't trust the wind reduction. The wind reduction just will switch between the 3 different microphones, whereas stereo will record left or right, and you take a chance that you might have wind in both. Wind reduction will take the 2 microphones that have the least amount of wind in them all the time. So wind reduction is probably the one you're looking for. And that's it. No, I really don't actually want to do Bluetooth. Now swipe this way, no SD card, no problem. And there we go. So now we're finally into the camera itself. Now I can check the options here. Now the focus distance, some people have complained, and this is one of the concerns, is that focus distance it's about 6 feet. So right now, this is not as clear as you think it is. Whereas if I'm looking at my camera rig over there, it's probably pretty clear there. There is a way to fix it, and we'll talk about that in a different video. But how do I switch this to be 8K? Gotta find which settings to do. Manual, auto. It might not do it because I got no SD card. Let's throw an SD card in. Now, what does it look like when you throw an SD card in? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we're gonna find out right now. Okay, the file system format of the SD card does not meet the requirements. Of course not, because it's a GoPro SD card. Video encoding option, H.264 or H.265. Now my video editing software does not support H.265 without doing an update. And I don't have money to do an update right now. So here's where all your video options are. There's HDR, slow motion, loop recording. Loop recording is interesting to use if you're trying to use this as a dash cam or something. I'm not sure how many people will use actual loop recording. Let's go to video and then see, there we go. There's the 8K option. Now one question I did have, wow. Okay, so one thing you guys aren't gonna notice, and I can't show this in a video, this actually has haptic feedback. So as I'm moving around, it has a very satisfying click that the camera does. You can hear the sound, but that sound is paired with a very, very distinct, it almost feels like it's very tactile feeling. I wondered if it would unlock 6K shooting mode, because that's also something interesting to me. So if you get the non-Pro model, it will record in 6K, but it will not do 8K. That's one of the biggest difference between the Pro and the not Pro. So if you want 8K, you have to get the Pro, and that's why we got the Pro. But you get 8K, 24 frames per second, which is fine for in here. When I'm doing studio shots, I'm gonna be filming 8K. When I'm doing out on the like run and gun shots, I'm gonna be doing 4K at 60 probably frames per second. Wow, okay, there we go. And it says it's doing 8K. And then if I hit record, okay, shutter button, skip. If I push the shutter button, what do you mean no SD card? There's an SD card in there. Ooh, it does not like 8K with this SD card. It seems like it's very picky about the SD card, and that makes sense because 8K has a lot of video information that needs to get onto the memory card, so you will need a very high-speed memory card. Also, if you use a memory card that's a little bit out of spec, you can cause overheating in here. I actually caused overheating in my Hero 8 camera here because I was using a little bit of a crappier SD card, and I solved that with a higher speed SD card. So if you want to record that higher bitrate, higher information, more information, better footage, you're gonna have to spring for a little bit better memory card as well. So this is kind of the whole package. It's, you know, basic bare bones. It's quite expensive. You know, it's a little bit more money than a GoPro Hero 13 is gonna cost you, but it seems very promising initially. So I'm excited to get this thing actually recording and start doing some real world reviews on this thing. So those are coming up in future videos. I'm glad you stuck around for the unboxing and exploration of the camera. Even though Insta360 did not want to send me one of these cameras, I'm very, very excited to show it to you guys. If you do want to get one yourself, I'll put a link in the description to the Amazon store. It is an affiliate link. I do get a small commission if you buy it from there, but it also helps to support this channel so that we can continue to make content just like this, especially when Insta360 doesn't want to send me one of these for free to review. I got to pay my own money to buy it. If you can help me out and get stuff from our Amazon links, we certainly appreciate it. But more videos on this camera coming up. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.